Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's another great week, another great episode coming at you. Slow news week, but that doesn't stop us. It's never stopped us. Happy Lunar New Year to those who celebrate. It is the year of the rabbit, and I am a rabbit, so hopefully, good luck to me, good tidings to me in this year of the rabbit.
What does it mean to be a rabbit?
It means as far as I know, it's just like very lucky, very fast, and it's a rabbit. It's a rabbit, bro.
Okay.
We just found out.
I just found out I'm a rat.
Yeah, we found out you're a rat. So
I don't know what that means.
You're a sneaky bastard, which it tracks.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
no, it's I like looking up the Lunar New Year and seeing which sign, because they always do, especially in video games, since the Chinese market is very big. They always do events, and it's the year of the rabbit or the hare, as you would say.
Yeah, I like how video games make sure I'm always keeping up with all the different events and holidays that are happening around the world. So my wife was asking, she's like, "Hey, it's Lunar New Year soon?" I'm like, I actually did know because there's a Steam sale
There you go.
that's happening around Lunar. It's like the Lunar New Year sales. So if it wasn't for Steam, I would have completely forgot about it.
Well, exactly. I don't know when Christmas is. When's Christmas? Whenever there's a Christmas sale.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to celebrate, and to those who celebrate, good luck in this year, and good luck to everybody, and good luck to us. And that's it. And that's it for the start. We're gonna hop right into get it. Hop.
That's
You,
just,
you didn't like that one?
I hated that.
All right. Oh well. You know what? I deserve it. I deserve that one.
That was worth it.
But I will say it again. We are going to hop right into some video game news. First off, we're going to start with some gaming studio layoffs. So over the week, Microsoft announced they cut 10,000 jobs from their whole company. Some of those were impacted, their gaming studios, such as Cinemax Media, 343 Industries, Bethesda, and the Coalition Studios. 343 is obviously working on Halo and future Halo content. Bethesda is working on Starfield. The Coalition is working on a new IP along with new Gears of War, and then I guess that's it. All the Cinemax, whatever Cinemax is working on. But obviously, this is a big news, especially in the industry. Considering we've also seen that a couple of media outlets have been laid off and cut jobs and all that stuff. Microsoft having a very rough year last year, not any major first party IPs or anything to show. This year they were planning to be, start out of the gate strong. They have the direct schedule for January 25th, where they'll be showing off Redfall. They'll be showing off Elder Scrolls Online, among other things, and hopefully the future for them for this year and whatever they've been working on. I know throughout the industry, a lot of people were just, hating on this news. Obviously, you don't want to see layoffs whenever they happen, but they do happen. In this case, with these prominent studios that have been struggling with releasing some content, especially in the case of 343 Industries, since they've been struggling with Halo, keeping the online, doing the campaign and all that stuff. It doesn't seem like everybody's happy, but obviously you want to get the most out of the product. And in this case, they might need to do a whole new turnaround and just kind of get a different studio working on it, or just get a new fresh face in the directing chair to kind of give them a little push and see if they can get back on track. What do you think on this?
Well, the first thing I want to address is why I was laughing so hard. Because
Yeah, you were just I was like, what the fuck?
I wasn't laughing at people losing their jobs. I was laughing at your sequencing of like, "Happy New Year, everyone. Let's hop into it. Everyone loses their jobs." Like the timing.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't happy because people lost their job. I was
I
this
know,
is
I know, I know.
my joy of New Year
Yeah,
isn't gonna
yeah, I know,
stop
I know.
me. You know,
It was just interesting, interesting story to kick things off. But
it was. It
so
was.
I wasn't laughing at people losing their job. That's not a laughing matter. But
Yeah, if you want to see
um,
Nick laughing, make sure you're watching this on video because his reaction, I was like, "What the fuck?"
okay, well, there it is. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of this happening across the board, right? So it's not just games. It's basically all like the big technology companies, even more kind of medium sized technology companies. There's just the trend of workforce reductions that are significant. Anywhere from 5 to 10% of the workforce, which for a large corporation is several thousands of people. I think, was it Amazon that had the biggest one so far? I can't remember the number. I don't know if it was like 18 or something or
Yeah, Amazon laid
something
out
like
a
that.
big.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't remember the number exactly, but they also laid down.
yeah, it's big numbers. And I think, it's shitty. I think companies are just kind of reacting to uncertain market conditions, going forward, and just it's kind of like the COVID quarantine time period where a lot of these big technology companies and also like a lot of gaming companies just did so well, from like a financial performance perspective, as well as a lot of their stock prices saw a lot of gains, during that period. So now that stock prices are getting crushed in technology, uncertainty around future cash flow, I think they're just making some cuts, in uncertain times. So yeah, it's shitty, but just knowing how large public corporations work, like it kind of wasn't that surprising, and a lot of people are very upset about it, and so yeah, I don't know, it's tough.
All right. And then after that downer of a news, we're gonna go to even more downer news. This one hits a little bit close to home, but just more because I really like Anthem, and that is that Marvel's Avengers is ending development. They're gonna be ending full support for the game as of September 30th of 2023. They're doing one final title update, which will be March 31st, which will address any bugs or anything like that. After that, the game will cease to have like the shop, so you can basically get the cosmetics and stuff free. It's a full 2.5 years after the initial release of the game. When the game released initially, it was very hyped. A lot of people saw this as a live service game, but obviously with the Avengers, piggybacking off of the Marvel movies, everybody was super excited. We always did kind of think it wasn't really going to work well. Obviously, you have these different superheroes that do different things, and the way that they were showcasing it as a live service game kind of didn't match to the expectations that people were having of the game. From what I saw, the traveling system, the party system, the game system didn't intrigue me enough to even purchase it. Even at a point where like I believe it went down to like $10 to $20, I was like, this is not interesting enough for me to play it. I don't want to spend some time on it. Obviously, I'm glad I didn't because, like I said about Anthem, I was one of those day one purchases on Anthem. I enjoyed the game, I enjoyed the mechanics of it, and then EA went ahead and ceased development on that. They rather take the loss instead of pumping more money into it and losing more money. Even though I think the gameplay mechanics with the suits you were able to fly around in and their powers was a cool concept. It just didn't work as a live service game in the world and all that. It is kind of weird just because Crystal Dynamics have worked on this and it's a very loved franchise. I do kind of hope that somebody else gets a go at it. But it might be a while before we do get like a full Avengers roster type of game. And the only thing we can really look forward to if we want to see something in this kind of universe would be like Marvel Spider-Man or Wolverine or Midnight Suns. What do you think? I mean, I know you weren't playing this game either, so
Yeah, it just never, it never felt like a good application for like that to be a live service game. And I think that I'm guessing you saw the leak, or there was like a screenshot floating around on Suicide Squad where
Yes.
it's gonna have, you know, battle passes and all this stuff. And I think a lot of people are, you know, kind of nervous about that. And I think they're gonna look to the Avengers game as like, okay, like what, why are we still doing this? Like, why can't it just be something a little bit more, you know, straightforward? So, um, but yeah, and so I saw that, and then, you know, the timing of that was, I thought, pretty interesting. Where it's like Suicide Squad live service game, and then the competitor or comparable to that is getting shut down. uh, and then it's like, I don't know, it just makes you think where live service games in general, where like eventually uh, the majority of them are going to shut down at some point, and it kind of just goes into this whole um, like games preservation kind of conversation around like if that's, is that just, I guess that's just like the way it is. But it's like kind of sad because I'm sure there's people, even the game was like maybe not great, but there's definitely people out there that I thought the Avengers game was like incredible and it's probably their favorite game, and then now it's just gonna be deleted from, you know, from the planet.
I mean,
Like,
as a pitch, it sounds great. You get to play as a bunch of the Avengers and play with your friends and do missions. That sounds great, but the execution was just not great.
yeah, yeah, I liked, and I can't remember like how much they layered on like battle pass skins stuff, but it was the oh shit, what was the name of those games? It was like, it was Marvel games, but it was more of just like you had a roster of characters, you just kind of like run around and beat stuff up. It's more of like a cooperative like beat 'em up type game. I just can't remember the
The
name of it.
Ultimate Alliance,
Yeah, Ultimate Alliance. Yeah.
yeah,
Like to me, it's
that one
like,
worked. Ultimate Alliance
yeah,
worked, I think.
that was fun, right? Like it's like some version of that. I think is, that's all that's needed. It doesn't need to be season passes, you know, daily missions, all this stuff.
Well, I think like my point of view is one in like 20 live service games work. It's very tough to one, make a live service game; two, keep a live service game active and the community engaged and all that. Very few games have done it. Very few games have done it well. I play Destiny all the time. I feel like that one's done it well. It does have its ups and downs, and people give it shit to it for certain things, but it does a lot of other things well in terms of like mission structure, new content releasing, season passes, and stuff coming out. You also have Fortnite, which we've talked about, that they are kind of the originators in terms of battle passes and season passes and content releasing, where they keep it fresh and keep the community engaged and just stuff coming back. And the base game itself is always fun. So as long as that's fun, you're always going to have people coming back. So that's one of the things where, you know, this game failed. It didn't. The gameplay, I'm pretty sure it was okay. It wasn't fun for a lot of people. The content itself was probably lacking, even though they had new expansions with new areas and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure, you know, you don't. I would rather play all the characters in the Marvel universe than just stick myself to the Avengers. That kind of sucks. So maybe that didn't work. But a live service game is a risky endeavor. I think it's just, if you have the studio that is familiar with it or just can get that magic where they can make it work, it'll be a long lasting game. You also have other studios like the ones that make No Man's Sky. That was kind of, for all accounts, a failure when it launched, but over time. They were still invested in the game. They had high hopes for the game. It took them about 2 years, and eventually they made with the updates. They made the game like they announced it, and they have a big strong community. You also have like Warframe has a big strong community. All these games, it just you have to have dedication and just keep fighting for it. And I think if you do that, eventually something good will come of it. But you also have to have good gameplay and a good community and all that stuff and engaging content. And that's where I think Avengers failed, Anthem failed. You got to have all things. And I'll talk a little bit about Destiny in my closing thoughts. But Bungie, I got to give it to Bungie. I've been playing Destiny since Destiny 1, since the alpha. And it's been 7 years, almost 8 years now. And I've had my periods where I'll leave it for a couple months, but I always come back to it. It's my number one played game that's online, where I continuously go back to it after all my single player stuff and stuff like that. But they know what they're doing. They listen to the community as well. If something's not working, they try to fix it, even if it takes them a little bit. And I think more studios should adopt that, or at least kind of look at that before you do anything in terms of a guideline. You want to look to see like what Bungie does or what Epic Games does. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I agree.
I agree. I like that. All right. And then the last bit of news we want to talk about is actually about a TV show. So, as a lot of you know, which we're pretty sure, you watched the Last of Us TV show premiere. It premiered last Sunday on HBO. Shout out to Hoochie Daddy Miggs, who has his own video podcast, The Miggs Show on YouTube. He does a little reviews of the episode, so I was able to also see his review on the episode. He was one of the millions of people, about 4.7 million people watched the premiere of the show. It's only it's the second biggest behind House of the Dragon. And the reason we want to talk about this was just a very interesting case, especially with a lot of these video games getting adapted into movies. We have God of War coming to Amazon eventually, Horizon coming to Netflix. You also have Ghost of Tsushima movie eventually that they're going to do, I believe. Metal Gear's coming. Gran Turismo's coming. All these video game adaptations into TV shows, besides the ones that we already have, like The Witcher and Arcane and Cyberpunk, Edge Runners and such. It's a big industry. Obviously, you can kind of say that the video game movie to TV show curse is kind of over. I know a lot of people are saying like, finally, a great show that is faithful to the game. I think they've had enough of that where it's worked. I know the Sonic movies were good. Obviously, Arcane was good as well, and Edge Runners was good. There's a lot of shows. It just depends. With this one, it's such an easy translation to make from a video game into a TV show, and they did
because the game is trash.
Oh my God, you're such a hater. The game is good.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a fine game.
But they were able to get great casting. They have the co-creator and writer of the game in co-writing and directing the adaptation, along with the person who did Chernobyl, which great show if you haven't seen that. But this just kind of goes to show you that like Nick always says in a lot of these, it's becoming like a multimedia entertainment thing where you have the movies, the TV shows, the video games, the board games, all that stuff where you want to control the intellectual property and kind of squeeze the juice out of it and make everything that you can out of it.
Why did you stop?
Because I thought you were going to say something.
I mean, you talking about squeezing the juice, and then I'm dialed in.
Yeah, I thought you were definitely going to say something. Since I said squeeze the juice, this is perfect for you.
Well, no, they're squeezing the juice because I didn't see like specific numbers, but then I think because the show's doing so well, they're now seeing the effects of that on the game sales. So, which I think the PC version just releases came out, right? Or
no, releases March 3rd.
Oh, okay.
March 3rd.
So the PC version's not even out yet, and then so it's just on PlayStation, right? So like even on PlayStation, they're saying like increment. It's like got back onto like a top sales chart, and then I think that scheduling makes sense. I think they want to get the audience built up over a few episodes, and then launch the PC version for everyone who doesn't have PlayStation. So I mean, that's just
Just,
textbook
just
transmedia strategy.
yeah, just got to get that bump.
That's
We need
great.
to release our own movie so we could get that movie bump.
Yeah.
Um, but this also comes into effect. I did read this interview that the director of the original game, Bruce Straley, who left Naughty Dog 6 years ago because he was kind of overworked and he was tired. He needed a little break before he came back into the game industry. Now he has a new studio, but there is no credit to him. It is kind of funny the way video games work, where a lot of people might work on the game for a certain amount of time, but if you kind of leave the studio, there's no credit to you in some games. Some games do a good job of it. I know he did get credited for the remaster on PlayStation and the one that's getting released on PC, but it is kind of weird for somebody so instrumental to the creation of the game in terms of directing it and kind of setting the tone to not be included. I know if we ever disband and you don't credit me, I will shame you on the internet forever, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a tricky situation just because I don't think games and like games companies, the way that they're set up is designed for giving specific people like credit for character creation, narrative, whatever. So as that content goes somewhere else, like probably just like the studio really only needs to be maybe credited in some way, and then it's more kind of like optional or like they can if they want mention someone, but they don't necessarily have to, which is like not the case where, for example, like if it's like George R. R. Martin, right? Like he very clearly like that's his book. People are making content based on that book. They're going to credit him. Like that's very kind of direct. But yeah, it's just so maybe that's something that gets addressed, or maybe creators working inside of games companies. Maybe over time, that's something that can get kind of improved upon in terms of making sure people are getting credited for creating work. And I think that's I don't know if it was Bruce Straley specifically, but people were like, "Oh, like another reason we need to unionize is to."
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the
He
one that
did say
was
that.
saying
Okay,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's part of one of many reasons why people are calling for unionization in games is to basically try to address this among other things, but address these types of situations. I think it's kind of ignoring how everything's organized. Like I do think that's pretty shitty that he's not mentioned at all in the show when
Yeah,
he
especially
probably like I don't know exactly what he contributed to it, but you have to imagine that it was a very meaningful contribution to the game.
yeah. Well, being the director of the main game, it's a big contribution, and obviously Naughty Dog is kind of familiar with this because same thing with Amy Hennig when she unfortunately left the development of Uncharted 4. She did still get credited, but at the same time, it was a bit of a, not a mutual parting. It was definitely something that both parties were angry at each other for. But hopefully, they kind of resolve that. There's a lot of hands that go into making a video game, and then when that gets taken somewhere else and it gets transformed into another type of media, it is kind of hard to keep track of the contributions. But you also want to stay with the original contributor, especially if it's a video game. A lot of people work hard through it to make it what it is, for it to come out as a full-fledged game that a lot of people love. But yeah, definitely stick with the Last of Us show. Like I'll be saying in my closing thoughts, you'll see why.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Can't wait. And then the last thing we want to discuss was Granblue Fantasy. For those unfamiliar, it's a very popular mobile game that has had several spin-offs. They just recently did a showcase where they announced that they will be adding more characters to their fighting game roster because they also made a fighting game, and they're developing a full-fledged RPG. That looks very interesting. Nick was able to see the showcase. He was very excited about it. What are your thoughts on that Granblue Fantasy?
Yeah, I think so. The action RPG game, Granblue Fantasy, I think it's Relink. That's a game that was announced like I don't even know. It was like a long time
Yeah, I
ago.
think I heard about the RPG before I heard about the fighting game.
Yeah, yeah. So the RPG was announced a long time ago, and I think Platinum Games was initially attached to it. So it was meant to be this like, taking the Granblue fantasy, characters and storyline and setting, and then shoehorning that into. I don't know if it would have been like Near Automata or whatever, but it's a Platinum Games type action game, but with more RPG elements. So that formula at the time sounded incredible to me, but then Platinum Games started becoming like like not doing so hot. So which I'm sure was like one of the reasons why they ended up getting detached from the game. And I guess Cygames is the publisher and developers. So I don't know exactly what they did to if they're just doing it all internally or if they have some other company they're working with. But I think that is one of the reasons why it's taken so long, is just kind of a back and forth on who's actually developing the game. But even then, even like I think it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, where I first saw some footage. And back then it looked awesome, and then they just showcased some new footage for the first time in a long time yesterday, and I thought it looked fantastic. So I think it's supposed to come out this year. We didn't get an exact timeline, but I think that's probably in my definitely like top 10 uh, games I'm looking forward to this year. So I'll have to add that to the list.
Yeah, the RPG looks great, and I was a big fan of the artwork for the fighting game, and I'm excited. I know it was featured at Evo as one of the fighting games that they had up there, and they have a big community and with a bunch of new characters. I'm pretty sure it's going to be talked about.
Yeah, new characters. They were talking like better graphics, which wasn't obvious to me. Like it's like yeah, it's better, but like I don't know like how much better it actually is. But it does look clean, and they announced rollback netcode, which is the new thing. Like after the community has been bitching about netcode for so many years, it seems like Japanese fighting game developers are finally using that as like
Listening.
almost like a marketing event of just like here it is, we have rollback netcode now. So that was one of the announcements, and then also this was kind of interesting. So in a lot of these fighting games, there's you create an avatar and you walk around in kind of like a hub world. So you remember that in Street Fighter 6, right, where you just kind of
Yeah,
see a bunch of people in a room and you can interact in certain ways. So so there's been some version of that in most modern fighting games, but they're really leaning in on the hub world, and they've basically built what seems to be like a full-fledged Fall Guys type series of mini games where
that's fun.
you have your avatar, you're in the sub world, and you're just doing all sorts of wild and crazy mini games. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
mini games within a game. I'm all for that. While you wait
yeah,
too.
yeah. So this will live inside the fighting game specifically. So yeah. So I think I played a demo or some sort of trial version of Granblue Fantasy like a while back, but I think this was enough shiny new objects for me to be like, you know what, I want to try that out, and I need any excuse to get more leverage out of my new controller. So
Yeah,
I
I got to
specific
practice on the hits, the
yeah
hit buttons.
hitbox. Uh, so which that controller basically only works specifically on 2D side scrolling fighting games. So yeah, that was a nice surprise. That the showcase was yesterday, so there was lots of Granblue news to get excited about.
Nice. We'll put the link in the episode description. So if you guys want to check that out. And that does it. Light week for news. We're going to move on to some closing thoughts because we have a bunch. I'll start off. Like I said earlier, I did want to talk about The Last of Us. I did watch the show. They essentially did 2 episodes. I believe it was about an hour and 40 minutes, an hour, something like that. They did 2 episodes. The first episode expanded on the epilogue of the original show, so you got to see more of the life before the virus hit and all that stuff between Joel and his daughter and his brother. And then the second episode kind of dealt with the beginning and how he gets tasked with taking care of Ellie. I don't want to spoil too much for those that haven't played the game or not watched the episode, Nick. But I think it is a very faithful adaptation of the show. The scenery looks great. We haven't seen too much of the clickers or anything like that, so can't wait to see that adapted. The environment looks great. It does definitely look like a pandemic hit and everything's kind of gone to shit and people have gone to shit and people are shit. It is very violent, so that's pretty good. It does have some horror elements, which I think it does very well. No jump scares so far, but it does have some. You can see stuff in the background or just kind of tense moments. So I think they've done a really good job. And from what I'm hearing, it does seem like they're going to adapt the second game as well. So they're going to be there's going to be a season 2, and that's probably going to adapt the second game, which, spoilers, doesn't start out well for one character. I will not say who, but yeah. And I'm glad. I think it's definitely done well. Hopefully it keeps the momentum it's got and it does the whole season strong. I believe it's 9 episodes, I think. It's either 9 or 11. I know they're doing 9 or 11 because the first one was 2 and 1. So hopefully it sticks out. I know a lot of people will probably jump into it that have never played the game, and you don't really need to play the game because they do a good job of differentiating it enough where it feels different and you don't have to know anything about the game to play it. When are you going to watch it?
I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm just going to wait until all the episodes are out. So
how can you live like that? You're gonna get spoiled. I mean,
no, but it's based. I've already been kind of spoiled by just with the games, right? So to me, it's like it's fine. It's fine. I'll just
okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not that bad.
I've played the first game enough, and I've dealt with the spoilers just with the games. So
yeah, I
think it'll be fine.
That's true, and they are kind of making like a faithful adaptation. It's not 1-for-1 because they did have to change a couple certain things. Otherwise, you'd be sneaking around the whole show, and nobody wants to see that.
I just want him to pick up like 20 tin cans and extract ammo from it, or whatever.
I need to see him. I need to see more crafting.
I would love
shanking people, shanking.
Yeah, I would love if they did like dumb. Like not
video
like as literal, but just kind of like a nod to
running into a wall or something.
yeah, just a nod to some of the absurdity that happens in the game. Like that would be pretty funny.
All right. As far as video games, I played, and this is funny. I don't know if you've ever played this or heard about it or seen gameplay of Transformers Devastation. Does that sound?
I've heard
familiar?
of it.
Yeah.
Who's the studio? I think I know the
Platinum Games.
Yeah, no, that's why. Okay, so yeah, Platinum Games did it. It was one of their they're trying to branch out and do like more licensed. Yeah, okay. That's right.
I was bored at the beginning of the week. I had just finished Evil West, amazing game. So I was like, what should I play next? And then I realized whenever I'm bored, I go through my PlayStation Plus catalog and I just download the most weirdest thing, and this was on there. I was like, I heard this was good. So yeah, made by Platinum Games. You get to play as Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, there's a dinosaur transformer. I don't know all the Transformers, but it's a pretty fun game. Pretty short game. It has Platinum Games combat along with a whole bunch of Transformer actions. So definitely fun game to check out. And then after I beat that, I was like, no, I need another game to play. So I decided to download Ghost of Tsushima, which I had played at all, and I had been meaning to play since the PS4, since it came out on the PS4. I just wanted to wait till it had it on the PS5, and luckily PlayStation was having a sale. It was on sale for $30, the director's cut with all the DLC and the extra content. So I decided to purchase that. Enjoying the hell out of the game. Really fun. You know me, I love collecting shit. So, following little foxes around, little golden birds.
I'm sure you love that map and just all the icons on the map, and you just walk around and collect everything.
I'm like a little Dora the Explorer over here.
Man.
But it's pretty fun. The combat's pretty fun. I have kind of experienced a bunch of glitches, which I don't know why. After the game is like 2 years old, so I don't know why it's still a bit glitchy. This guy that was following me, I was doing a mission with him, and he just started bouncing. He bounced like 10 times. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Or if I'm talking to somebody, it'll be weird. But besides that, I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the story, the combat, the aesthetic. I love that the wind is guiding me. I can feel the wind beneath my wings and just going around to my next mission. But pretty fun game. Sucker Punch definitely knocked it out of the park. Can't wait to play some more. And then the last update I wanted to do was on Destiny 2. Destiny 2, obviously with the Lightfall expansion coming out on February 28th, they've been kind of releasing a bunch of information on what to look forward to. And then one of the main things that they just released this week was that they're doing away with armor mods for specific armors. So it'll be easier if you're a new player. Hint, hint, Nick, this is for you, so you can come and play Destiny. It'll be easier for people to get in because all the armors will already be unlocked, and it'll be easier for you to equip them. You don't have to do certain things for certain armor pieces, and it'll be a better system in terms of building classes and all that stuff. So, they're just calling you. They're telling you. They're like, Nick, we want you to play. We want you. This is your live service game that you've been looking for.
Nah.
Oh, all right.
I'm good.
All right, so that was it on my end. That was my pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that story basically every year. It's like, oh, this time it's different. It's easy to get into. And
you have to give it a chance.
Yeah.
If you don't give it a chance, then you don't know if it's different or not.
I've played the game for like 30 hours. Like, how much more time do I need?
You have to put like 500 hours before you can say if it's good or not.
Yeah, okay.
It's like when you watch the Lord of the Rings
ridiculous.
movie. Like, you don't know if it's good or not until you're an hour and a half in of a 3-hour movie.
Nah, dude. No. I'm over it. I tried multiple times. That's it.
What you been up to? Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. That's pretty beefy.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? I can't remember. Did I talk about? I don't think I beat Crisis Core. I think I was close to beating it last week, but I don't think I had quite beaten it yet.
Yeah, I think you...
Does that sound right? Okay.
Yeah, you were saying you were close to beating it.
Yeah, so I did end up beating it. It's like, is this such like a stupid game? But I loved it. Like, the story is, I would say, not good. But I like that I just was able to spend some more time with characters from Final Fantasy VII, so... but I don't actually think it...
Wait. Was the story not good because it's not good because it's ridiculous, or it's not good because it's Final Fantasy? Because some of Final Fantasy stories, let's be for real, are kind of crazy out there.
I would say it's just like not good.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the writing is pretty bad. It's not like, Stranger of Paradise where it's like, okay, this is stupid but entertaining. Like, I think this was just like... Just not good. Yeah, it's just like not good, but it's still it's still enjoyable. But for me, it was just because I like Final Fantasy VII. Just I don't want to spoil too much, but you just get to learn a little bit more about those characters. Whether it's actually good or bad that you're learning more about the characters, I think is another question. Like, I might have been like better off not knowing like more about Cloud. Like, it's kind of like changed my perception of Cloud in some ways. So, but I just thought it was almost kind of like required reading for me to go through the game, because I know the producers and directors of the next Final Fantasy VII remake chapter. Like, they basically said like, oh yeah, it's going to be like kind of important for you to know what happens in that game for things to. So it's like so that was like my real reason. So it was almost kind of like a homework assignment as opposed to something I wanted to do. But
Well, spoilers for Final Fantasy VII remake. For those that don't know, is that it kind of does switch it up from the original, where the events don't happen. So basically, Aerith, whatever, lives kind of.
yeah,
So I'm guessing it. Yeah, Zach's gonna probably play a big part. We don't know. We don't know.
yeah, it was really learning more about Zach and because he's basically dead at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, and then at the end of Final Fantasy VII remake, he may or may not be dead.
He's a zombie. No, but yeah,
Could
we
be.
don't know.
So yeah, it's just so I don't know. It's kind of this hard. And then like from a gameplay perspective, I think I mentioned this last week. I basically broke the game where I was just
God mode.
murdering
Yeah.
everything. So, like I was just cruising through this game, just destroying everything because I probably overinvested in side missions. So yeah, I think there's some kind of limitations from a game design perspective. But again, you got to keep in mind this was primarily developed for the PlayStation Portable, which came out a very long time ago, and then also is a portable device. So I think they had portability in mind with how they structured missions and things like that. So it was kind of so I enjoyed it, but it was kind of odd, right? Where it's I broke the game unintentionally, and then the storyline's kind of not super good, but I had a good time.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it was better for you to have broken the game, because otherwise you would have to slog through a game that you didn't enjoy the story of.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. Yeah, if it was like really difficult or what, I would have been like, "Fuck this." But because I was just mindlessly plowing through everything, it ended up being fine. But yeah, so that was good. And then I think I also mentioned I went on a Square Enix holiday sale rampage around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I just bought like a ton of classic games on Steam. So I got back into Final Fantasy X, which I think we talked about that on the podcast like
Yeah,
a year ago,
yeah.
maybe same time ish last year, where it was made available on Game Pass. So I was playing it on Game Pass, and then I just got sidetracked, and then I ended up buying the game on Steam over the holidays. Had to go through a bit of a process to figure out how to migrate my save file from Game Pass to Steam, but it is possible. Not with every game, but at least with Final Fantasy X, it is possible to do that.
Yeah, if you need any of those tips, just make sure you're on Discord
Yeah.
at T-Boom Pickens.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I'm almost done with Final Fantasy X now. So I've been playing that most of the week, which that'll be the first time I've owned it multiple times, but this would be the first ever time that I actually fully complete Final Fantasy X. Which
Nice.
is
I was gonna say,
exciting.
like, did you ever beat it?
No, never.
There you go.
What's also funny is I played the game, normally for basically the entirety of it up until maybe like a day or two ago. There was one or two dungeons that got like really fucking annoying with like just the strategies that you had to do to like win, and then also was the battles were very long, and it's still it's a random battle thing, so it's like there's way too many random battles, and I don't know what I did. I think I like accidentally like leaned into my keyboard, like it was like next to me, and I hit the escape button, and like I don't like, but there's basically like a menu of like special settings where
Oh
you
my
can
God.
you can like basically like turn off random battles, speed up the
You
game.
didn't know that?
No. I knew you can do that with Final Fantasy 12, but it's like part of the game's menu. You know what I mean? Like it's not this like weird other menu that's like
Yeah, I
outside
think
the game. So
from I think I knew that because I remember them saying when they were re-releasing 10 that they were going to add extra stuff to it. So like you said, to skip battles, to speed up, and all that stuff.
you know, it made. I'm like, oh yeah, like that was the thing that they did. I just for some reason never came across it because again, it's like not on the main menus anywhere. It's like this weird PC menu. So, but so I wish I would have discovered that earlier. But it was fine.
Yeah, would have saved yourself some time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm definitely going to use that for playing through Final Fantasy X too. So that's probably what I'm going to get into next.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff for you. Hopefully, you get into some more shenanigans this week.
Very Square Enix heavy. I think once I get through this Final Fantasy binge I'm doing, I think I need to finally go back to God of War, which I know you're going to make fun of me about, but
Eventually, you'll finish it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll finish a lot of things I tell you to do and finish. And
I still haven't
we
watched
can talk
Andor.
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Still haven't watched Andor.
Well, you know what next week is, right?
What?
Big episode
number
number
50.
50,
Yeah, 50? Big 50?
baby. So yeah, super excited for that. It's a milestone. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're probably not gonna do anything, but episode 50 is next week. It means a lot, just like a year in. 50 episodes. It's a big milestone. So it's a good year.
You don't want to do anything special?
I don't, well, I have some ideas, but I want to surprise our viewers and listeners. I don't, I don't want to give them away. So make sure you guys tune in to episode 50 next week. And happy Lunar New Year, year of the rabbit. May the rabbit luck be ever in your favor. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.